Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Neuro-Inclusive Dog Pod, the podcast where we bridge the gap between neurodiversity and the dog world. Today's podcast guest, we're doing something a little bit different, and we're giving a nod back to my crafting days and kind of combining all of these worlds together. So I am super excited to announce today's podcast guest. So hi, Jane, welcome to the podcast. Could you tell our listeners who you are and what you do?
Hi, Katrina. I am Jane and I live in Wales. I'm an artist and
Amazing.
I specialise in wildlife and nature paintings and drawings.
Amazing. So how did you get into the world of art? Is it something you've always done, or is it a recent thing you've picked up?
Oh, we froze a little bit there, I think.
You're right,
Yeah, it is. I've always been creative and as an art teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to improve my skills so that I could give those over to the students and help them improve.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it started that way, really. I just happened to be getting into it in that respect.
Yeah, amazing. It's something I absolutely love the crafting side of it. So the listeners that might not know a little bit of my backstory before dogs, before counselling, psychology, that kind of thing, and kind of alongside when I was doing my counselling qualifications, I had a craft business. So I absolutely love crafts, and I think it's one of the things that fed into my neurodivergent brain quite nicely, even though I didn't realise I was neurodivergent then, because there was always something to do. It's really weird because the ADHD side of my brain hates routine and sameness and doing the same things all the time. Yet my autistic brain comes in and sometimes likes that. So they're constantly fighting each other. But when it comes to my crafting business, I was always be able to create something new and come up with different designs and different products and stuff. So it's something that I massively love. I don't know if you find that in the work that you do, that just the ability to just do different things all the time.
Yeah, all the time. I'm constantly looking for new ideas, which can be a little bit of a downside because I want to do all the things all the time. I've
Yeah.
literally just done hat burning, which is amazing.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so I'm really tempted to carry on with that, but I have to stop myself.
I know, especially in the crafting world as well, because everything's expensive, isn't it? And like you need all of the kit and stuff, and you need all of all of the little intricacies that people might not realize. And I think you can go down different rabbit holes. And I was definitely like that when I was doing my crafting. I was like, I wanted to do some of this and some of that and some of the other. And before you know it, you've got a whole house full of craft stuff and not very much room to live. So
Yes, exactly. My husband's not very happy with me.
that's it.
So I'm spilt out from the spare room onto the landing and then take over a lot of house. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I know one of the things that you do in your business is pet portraits, isn't it? And was there any particular moment when you started thinking, oh, I know I'm going to just start doing pet portraits, or was it a request that you got? How did that develop into part of your work?
Yeah, so my brother-in-law was moving away.
Uh-huh.
He was moving to America and he'd had a dog from a puppy, and I think she was about 8 or 9, but it
Mm-hmm.
meant that he couldn't take her with him. It was really
Oh,
sad. And
yeah.
so I drew a picture of her for him to take with him. And
Oh, oh.
somebody saw it, and then of course then they wanted one, and it just kept going like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, when it comes to pet portraits, especially like obviously I'm involved in the dog world, and the pet kind of industry and the dog kind of industry, it's so popular, isn't it? Like everybody always wants something for their pets, whether it's a big part of what I do is agility, and there's always photographers around the ring taking pictures of their dogs, and it doesn't matter how many agility dog pictures that people have, there's always room for one more and things. And I think it's because we're deeply connected to our pets as well, isn't it? Especially as neurodivergent people as well. And have you found that in the work that you do, that when you're asked to do a pet portrait, that people can have these emotional, deep connections to their pets? And do they ask you to kind of capture that? How do you deal with that kind of side of it? Because it can be quite emotive, can't it, as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think people do tend to come to me after, unfortunately, their dog has passed,
Mm-hmm.
which means that their photos are limited.
Yeah.
But I tend to ask for as many photos as possible,
Mm-hmm.
and really capturing the character.
Mm-hmm.
So I do work from photos, but it's the soul that they want me to capture, not the physical body. It's that essence.
Yeah.
And don't ask me how I do it, but I do. People say to me, you've just got them down to a T. I think
Yeah.
it's in the eyes. I love eyes.
Yeah.
And as long as the eyes are clear and
Yeah.
sharp and I can capture that, then I think that's where it is. That's where it lies.
Yeah, it must be hard as well. So a big part of what you do is obviously the pet portraits and the both for pets that have passed and pets that are still here. So when it comes to, I can imagine it being a lot easier for people that pets are still here, because if they're, you know, pets are still with us, they can take more photos, can't they? And they can, you know, do it from different angles and stuff. And I know it must be incredibly difficult as an artist to get those fine intricacies and those fine details if, for example, if the photos are older and they're, you know, not as high quality or what it is. And how do you kind of touch, so if it's with somebody whose dog has passed and the photos might not be as clear as you would like, really, to do your best work, so to speak, how do you kind of navigate that with your clients, with it being kind of an emotive subject? Do you find that difficult, or are most people understanding? How does that kind of work?
I find it really hard. I'm an emotional person and I'm empathetic with them. But at the same time, if the picture isn't good, then the
Yeah.
outcome isn't going to be as good.
Yeah.
But what we are lucky with these days is all the technology we've got. And so, you know, you can use editing software to try and focus and sharpen the images and add some colour. So that
Right.
is amazing. It's
Yeah.
never as good as, you know, when you take a really sharp photo, but it does help.
Amazing. So when it comes to the work that you do with pet portraits, just explain to my listeners how that works. So if people were listening and thinking, oh, I'd like a pet portrait of my dog, but I've just got no idea where to start or what to look for, what are kind of some of the do's and don'ts, and how does the process usually work?
So I tend to like quirky pictures. I quite like funny and characterful
Yeah.
ones. But yeah, so basically as many photos as you can possibly get of your pet.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a chat about what you'd like it in, so black and white or
Mm-hmm.
colour. I work in colour pencils, but I also have started working in acrylics and starting with oils, which is exciting. Um, but yeah, so the customer would pay a deposit,
Yeah.
which is non-refundable.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go straight in and, you know, get to work basically.
Yeah.
And I try to give sort of snippets of how it's developing as I go along.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm happy, then I'll send the final image
Mm-hmm.
and hope that my customer's happy.
Yeah.
If not, then I'll go back and do more. But generally, they're over the moon and they can't believe
Yeah.
what the picture looks like.
Amazing. That's just a testament to how good you are at your job, I suppose. But I think it's one of those things as well, isn't it? As neurodivergent people, for myself, I hate that conflict and I hate that perceived criticism thing. So for me, when I was doing, I mean, I'm not an artist. I did like just textile crafts and stuff. But if I was doing something for somebody, and then that moment where you're handing it over and you're like, oh God, I hope it's all right, and you know, how do you kind of navigate that, especially if somebody wants to tweak something?
Yeah, I mean, I have had that in the past, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm providing a service, so I want the
Mm-hmm.
customer to be happy, and you know your dog better than me.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, I will go back and tweak, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think you have to remember that what the photo that's been given
Yeah.
is, you know, the outcome's only as good as what's
Yeah.
been given, really. Although I can use my artistic license.
Yes.
You know, it's only you can't wave a magic wand in a way,
Yeah, it is.
but
And
I
I
do
think,
my best to help.
yeah, definitely. And I think it's like what you said about we were sending snippets and keeping those lines of communication open as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think as well for speaking from a neurodivergent perspective, if anybody was listening that was thinking of having that, I think one of the things that we struggle with as neurodivergents is being like, I wouldn't say being open and honest, because that's not true. A lot of us are really are honest, but actually saying our feelings, because we are so used to those perceived criticisms, aren't we? And, oh, what if I'm the one in the wrong and stuff. And I think for anybody, it's hard, isn't it, when you're from a customer point of view, as well as from a business owner's kind of point of view. It's hard when you're providing a service and then you're the one having the service provider, so to speak, and then you're thinking, oh, I want to change something, or I want to speak up. So from a dog training perspective, a lot of the things that I struggled with when I was going into classes is they weren't delivering the information in a way that I could understand it, basically. And that's why I became a dog trainer, because I basically went and learned it myself. I was like, well, if you're not going to tell me, I'm going to have to learn it myself. And one of the things I didn't do is speak up and say, can you help me with this? Because as neurodivergent people, we tend to like shy away and don't really say, I'm not going to be an issue. I want to just be over here, and it must be an us problem, And
Yeah.
I think it's really important as well. And I think when it comes to pet portraits and things, just providing those snippets and like those, keeping those lines of communication open is such a good thing to do, because I think it gives people an opportunity to say, oh, actually, can you just include this? Or I might have found this picture that shows, I don't know, the eyes better or something like that. So I think that's really important, isn't it, when it comes to doing any kind of service, really, but particularly something that's so emotive and just emotive, really, and means so much to people. So when it comes to the pet portraits you do, how long does it usually take from somebody inquiring to actually getting their physical product back?
Oh, that's a difficult one. It's
Yeah.
it usually, because you're backwards and forwards messaging or phone call or whatever with the plan.
Yeah.
And it depends on my diary, obviously, but I can do a drawing in about maybe a week or two,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
from start to finish. And
Mm.
then obviously with the messaging backwards and forwards, I think you're talking 6 to 8 weeks, I would say,
Yeah, relatively.
real realistically.
Yeah, and when it comes to you and how you like to work from a business perspective, I know one of the biggest things that I found as a neurodivergent person is managing my diary so I don't feel exhausted, or so I'm not doing like loads of things in one go. So when I was teaching more regularly in person rather than online, I used to kind of like do what everybody else does and fill my diary full of like, oh, well, we'll teach on this morning. Then I'd come home completely shattered and not be able to do anything for the rest of the day, because it's work and it's exhausting, isn't it? We're keeping that level of, in some cases back then I was keeping a level of masking up, because back then I wasn't teaching I was teaching beginners, and it was not necessarily the people that wanted all the intricacies. So my brain was kind of keeping those intricacies for myself, but it was exhausting me because my mind was going 10 to the dozen. So when it comes to your business and all the work that you do, how do you find that work-life balance? I mean, are you somebody that so for our listeners, they might use art as kind of a kind of an escape, but for you that does it as a job, is it kind of hard to escape from that kind of thing?
It's really hard, actually. You just
Yeah.
touched on something I'm trying to do this week, which is
Um,
to create for no reason. And
yeah.
because like you say, I'm creating to sell, I'm creating for my business. It's
Yeah.
not the same as creating for no reason, like doodling on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So this week I'm trying to make time just to create, because for no
Yeah.
reason, it doesn't have to be for anything.
Yeah.
Um and that is really hard. Really, really hard.
Yeah. It is.
Um yeah, I am struggling with it, actually. But it's
Yeah.
so important, because doing that, it frees your mind. So I'm like you, I'm thinking about 10,000 things, trying to
Yeah.
do lots of different things. Um, and when I'm creating, when I'm painting something, that's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I struggle too.
Yeah,
It's a
and I
difficult
find it
one.
hard when it's a business as well. Like I used to, coming from a dog training perspective, especially having three dogs and three dogs that have been competing and stuff, and knowing dog behavior. Like somebody said to me, like once you learn dog behavior, you can't unsee it, and you can't because it means that my brain never switches off. So it doesn't matter whether I'm out doing me things or whatever. I've not even got a dog with me. I'm seeing other people's dogs. I'm reading their body language, and it's all going round in my head. I'm not necessarily verbalizing it, and
Yeah.
it's super difficult. And it's one of the reasons that I use secure fields actually, because when I'm out with my dogs in the open, so to speak, walking them on the pavements or in the fields or whatever, I am constantly like dog training my dog training brain and what they're going through and what they're feeling. So I use a secure field, not because my dogs are unruly or haven't got a recall. It's so that I can just let them be dogs and I can switch off because I know that nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to come to them. And I think another leg of that is when you are doing when your passion and your hobbies kind of coincide with your business, it makes it super difficult as well, doesn't it, to switch off? Because like me, I'm doing something or I'm filming something, and it could be I'm just filming my dogs in the secure field, but I'm like, oh, that's a really good opportunity to showcase this. Or your brain never switches off, and it's super difficult. Do you find that kind of trying to like you were saying about trying to create for no reason, where do you often find you do that and you think actually this might make a good business or it might
Yeah, all the time. When you said you can't unsee what you've learned, that's
yeah,
another thing with art. Once you learn how to see,
yeah,
then you see everything in a completely different light.
yeah,
So when you've learned how to draw and how to break things down into simple shapes, then
yeah,
when you go out into nature and you're just going for a walk and you see something and you're like, oh, I could paint that and look, I could do it
yeah,
like this.
yeah,
So yeah, it's exactly the same. And
yeah,
you just don't ever switch off. I mean, I've got my phone with me all the time, taking photos when I'm out in nature,
yeah,
especially of my dog,
yeah.
and animals. I've got a pet sheep, so
Oh
I'm
wow.
forever taking photos.
Oh, amazing! It is one of the things that somebody also said to me when I was first starting in training. They says, right, well, you need to have a hobby that's not dog related, and I was like, hobby that's not dog related, like what on earth is that? So I think one of the things what I tend to do is I go back to my crafting days, and I think that because that's completely unrelated to dogs, well, it used to involve dog things or whatever, it doesn't anymore. So I kind of tend to go back to that. I do a lot of I'm not very arty in terms of I can't draw or paint. I'm stick person all the way over here, but I can create things, and I like colouring in and that kind of thing. So I just tend to get a colouring book. I feel like when you say you get your colouring book, you feel like you're 5 years old again, don't you? Because it's this connotation of like only little kids colour, but it's trendy now, isn't it? Everybody does
It
it.
is.
But yeah, so one of the things people said to me is, find something that's not dog related. And I think we talked, didn't we, before on our pre-podcast chat about the other legs of your business that you do. And I think this is kind of for anybody listening that wants to get involved in like the art world but doesn't know where to start. Tell us a little bit about the other sides of your business, like the parties and the subscription boxes that you've got coming up and how they work.
Yeah, so I started out last year doing painting parties in the
Mm.
local village. So I prep your canvas. So where you said you can't draw, you don't have
Yeah.
to draw anything. I've already done it for you. So
Oh,
you
amazing.
arrive and you've got your outline on your canvas ready.
Mhm.
Your paint is all, I don't think I've got a paint strip, but the paint strips of the
Yeah.
pots.
Yeah.
So I prepare those for you. So you've got all your colours there ready.
Mm.
Um, three different sizes of paintbrushes, and then all your instructions are there. And
Yeah.
I show you step by step how to paint on this canvas, and you leave with a beautiful painting.
Amazing.
Um, and I've just done a few actually recently. I did a hen party, which was so hilarious. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
I did a corporate, it was a retreat with Envis Maloney in Portmeirion, which is a
Oh,
lovely Italian village near us.
yeah.
Um, and they went down a treat. People who haven't painted since they left school. and the comments are just like, wow, this is amazing. I feel so good.
Yeah.
I was really nervous, but now I feel really relaxed and, into it. It's, yeah, really, really good for you.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, how could I bring this to people's homes? Because obviously I'm only local, I can't tap into everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I thought about doing a subscription box, a painting box, where
Amazing.
you would have all of that in the box, a
Yeah.
pre-recorded video of
Wow.
me showing you the step by steps and the step by step printed out visually as
Yeah.
well. Um, and different things come straight to your door every month. So
Amazing. It's
something I'm working on.
amazing. So I love that because obviously I'm biased anyway because I'm come from a crafty background. But however, I know for even people that aren't from a crafty background that just love that kind of, like we go to like a paint a pot thing or whatever it is. And it's that kind of just doing something completely different from what you do in your day job, really. And that's switching off. But then not having that added stress of having to learn learn it from scratch, if you know what I mean. And I think as neurodivergent people, what we can go down rabbit holes, can't we, of, oh, I know this is good and I'm gonna, I need to, or I can't come to that class because I don't know how to I don't know how to paint, so maybe I need to just look up how to paint before I come. So I think it's really good that you've got that already covered for them. And I think it can work for lots of different things, can't it? Like you said, you do hen parties, but also you went in a corporate setting. And I know a lot of dog trainers in dog training groups, they do things that are like, they have days out and they do things that are not dog related. They get like little get-togethers that don't involve the dogs, like kind of like team building kind of exercises. So it could be something that you could do for that, isn't it? Something completely out of the box. You're not, with being in the UK as well, we don't always have the best weather, and a lot of these team building exercise things they do tend to be outdoorsy. So I think by
Yeah.
doing like an art party, it's a really good way to just do something different, but you're not reliant on the weather and things. So yeah.
Yeah, and the good thing with the boxes and the party as well is everything's done for you, so you don't have to go out and buy
Yeah.
a massive bottle of white acrylic paint and only use a minuscule amount. It's all there, all you
Yeah.
need.
Amazing. And I think with the subscription boxes as well, for like doing something completely different with outside of dogs basically, and also being business owners, doesn't matter whether you're a dog business owner or any kind of business owner, just having that time to switch off and stop doing it from your business. Like, unfortunately for you, your art is your business, like with me with my dog, so it's kind of like the other way around for you. But for someone like me, I'd be like, if I got to think through the post every month going, oh, wow, it would make me kind of factor in that time in my diary to just do it and to just have that time for myself. And I think
Yeah.
it can be massive, can't it, for people who are busy and running businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the thing is the variety as well. So, I mean,
Mm.
I've thought I could make it bespoke as well. So you could just have the one-off box, but you could also have your dog, for instance. I
Yeah,
could draw your dog personally to you, and then
amazing.
you could paint your dog. So, yeah, there are lots of strands.
Yeah, definitely. There's also things that you could do, like just thinking about it from a team building, like a club. There's lots of agility clubs and lots of dog training clubs and things. You could even go into little things where you could do like the one-off kind of boxes, in terms of you could draw something meaningful to that club or to that dog training business or whatever, and then they could have like their own little party and get together, and they could have like a competition at the end of it, who paints this the best or whatever. So it's kind of like it's got so
Absolutely.
many different legs to it, hasn't it? Whereas you've got the parties that you do around your area, but also by creating these subscription boxes, you've got the leg of it where you can just send something to someone's house each month. And for a neurodivergent person, or even neurotypical people, they're like, oh, excellent, my box is coming. It just means that I've got this time in the diary. That is just me. I switch off and that's what I do. But then also you've got this kind of thing where you can help other businesses, like to do something outside of the box that is completely different, but it's helping their mental health as much as it is their, everything else. But they're creating that kind of like little community within themselves, because you're creating this activity where they can just get together, have a paint, do something different, have that little bit of competition and fun as well. So I definitely think um it's exciting. I'm excited for you with all of these things.
Thank you. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
think you can expand it to have like a team building in a box. So,
yeah,
you just have one video of the example, but
yeah.
10 canvases for your team. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
definitely. And I think it's that as well for me when I was doing a lot of arty, crafty stuff was the I didn't realize at the time, but just how much it helped with my mental health as well, because you like it does give you that time to switch off, doesn't it? And reflect. And almost I suppose with what you do with your art, possibly just connect to like back to nature and connect to things that are less busy and less loud. Do you find that with the work that you do?
I'm finding it even more now.
Mm.
Um, Now that because I left teaching nearly a year ago,
Right.
and I've found that I've really slowed down in a good way. So
Mm.
I'm noticing things. I'll sit and watch the birds, for instance, and you know, that in itself is just so healing, and it's really, really important, I think, that we do focus on things
Mm.
like that.
Yeah.
It definitely can help your mental health.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So when you've had people come to the parties or even maybe subscription boxes or any kind of art experience with you, have you found that you've kind of like created, like ignited a spark in between? Have you had any stories of where people have gone, oh, actually, and then done something more with it?
I've had people at the party saying, "Oh, definitely going to carry on with this. I didn't
Yeah,
think I could feel like this." Yeah,
yeah,
so there was one lady recently who said, I really want to sign up to your subscription box, but what I want is to have a kit for each member of the family, and that
amazing.
we have an art off. So
Yeah,
we're painting the same picture, but it's a competition. And
yeah,
then what we're going to do is get somebody outside the family to come and judge which one's the best. I thought,
amazing.
isn't that great? That's such a good idea.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
so yeah, using the creativity, but that element of competitive businesswoman
Yeah,
to actually,
yeah.
yeah, to make it um relevant to them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that must be a fantastic feeling for you as well to think, oh, my art is creating these little experiences for people. So even though you may not be locally near to them, that you're sending these things out and you're creating these kind of, like little, whether it's a community of, people getting together to do it or whether it's family members, they're all kind of connecting together through something. I would say it's something as simple as art, but I know full well art is not simple. So
But
it's
it's as simple as you want to make it, I think.
yeah,
I think what we as a society have done is made it all about the outcome, and it should be about the process. So
yeah,
when people are at the parties, they're enjoying that process. And if we
yeah,
can get out of the mindset of this has got to look fabulous, because
yeah,
it's kind of, unfortunately, throughout school, we've been told that in order to get this grade, you have to do this, this, and this. And it's
yeah.
all about the grade at the end. Whereas art is it's more about how it makes you feel while you're doing it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's about the experience, isn't it? And I think that's it as well. And I think that's why I can see the parties being really important to create that kind of atmosphere where, like you say, it's not about the process because they're not going in there expecting to create a massive art masterpiece because they're like, oh, they're going in there with that just wanting to have fun, aren't they? Wanting to have an experience. And the
Yeah.
outcome is just a bonus, isn't it? And then, like you say, most people are shocked at how good it is on the outcome. But yeah, I think it's really important. And I think as business owners, whether neurodivergent or not, we kind of forget that. And I think from a business perspective as well, even the dog training world, that's what we focus a lot on the outcomes of the dog, the outcomes of what the client wants and stuff. But what we need to be thinking a lot of is the experience that creates both for the human but for the dog as well. And I think that's what, like you say, what society is missing at the minute is that kind of we're all based on outcome and results. And one of the things that is, it's kind of good in a way but bad in a way, I always used to speak about it in my classes, that we're in a society now that is so fast paced, you know, it's become the norm, hasn't it, that we can pay for our shopping via our watch and all of those kind of things. Yeah, I've not got to that point yet. I've never paid for my shopping via a watch. But however, all the kids do it, don't they? And you know,
Yeah.
they're like ping, and I'm like, how on earth do you do that? And I think because it's so fast paced and we're used to those results being like results driven and being so quick, and we're wanting those results, whether from a dog training perspective, people just expect to turn up and take the dog to a class and it to learn how to do X, Y, and Z, or to solve this behavior, because society is sending us this way of these quick results. And I think by connecting to, you know, focusing on experiences a lot more, but also the work that you do with your art, it kind of takes that, it can take that away, can't it? Like, you think about the, like you say, the process, how it makes you feel, like, you know, just get lost in kind of that moment. And I think it's just such a contrast to this fast-paced society that we live in. And I think that's what, why for me, art in crafts is such a fantastic thing to get into, or to, you know, as a hobby or whatever level, alongside dog businesses, because it is such a contrast. But again, it makes you stop and slow down and pause and actually reflect. And as business owners, that's something we're not very, very good at doing, is it?
No, although we should be, constantly evaluating and reflecting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely, I think you know, we do need to enjoy that process. It's like when they say, what, you know, where do you want to be in 10 years? And you think about it, but actually enjoying that process to get there, because once you get there, it doesn't necessarily make you happy. So you're
Yeah.
constantly craving something else, but we should be in the moment and enjoying the process. And I
Yeah.
think art definitely does provide that.
Yeah. So when it comes to you and how you do your work, so talk us through like your typical setup. Do you have to be in a certain frame of mind to create your art? Do you have to do it in a certain place kind of thing? Do you have a designated area, or how does that kind of work for you? When do you kind of do your best work, so to speak?
Um, I think the luxury of having to be in the zone at the moment has gone.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to set up a scene for me to be in work mode.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm constantly wanting to create anyway. I
Yeah.
don't at the moment, I don't have a studio, which is on my list. I'm really craving a studio.
Oh,
But you know, it's one of those things we have to work towards, isn't it?
yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I just set up my space, and I tend to have some music on in the background.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, I'm just get into the zone, and you know, maybe light a candle
Yeah.
and just really enjoy the process of what I'm doing.
Yeah. Do you find
Yeah.
I've when we did a pre-podcast chat, I'm very jealous of where you live. So you're very lucky to live in a such an idyllic place anyway. I was just like, I can imagine you sitting there and just looking out onto the sea where you live. And I'm like, oh, that'd be ideal. I'm in Derbyshire in the middle of there's no sea around me anywhere. So I'm very
You're
jealous of
far
that.
from the sea.
Yeah, so I can imagine that just being in that kind of environment actually helps quite a lot when it comes to creating and relaxing and those kind of things. But the contrast of that is, like I was saying before, though, when it becomes your job as well, I suppose it's kind of hard to it's hard to switch off, but then it's like that switching on, switching off kind of thing, isn't it? It's like you say, trying to find those moments where you can create for your own mental health and your own switching
Mm.
off kind of thing, but then creating for somebody else as well. Do you feel that from a pressure point of view? Do you find that sometimes it can take the fun out of it, or have you got to a stage where you're just okay with that kind of thing?
I think if you become obsessive, then yes, it can take the fun out of it. And I
Yeah.
think you have to I'm not even sure that I've found my style yet. You know,
Right.
people say, "Oh gosh, yes, you have got a style," and I do think I do,
Yeah.
but maybe not one that I'm completely happy with. And I think as artists we evolve anyway, don't we?
Yeah.
Um, so, but I think when you're in that, you've got your style. I
Hmm.
think you enjoy it more anyway because you're happier doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you can definitely not enjoy what you're doing if you're just churning it out and it's just for money. it's obviously not going to bring you what you want.
Yeah, it's like any job, isn't it? I think we have to have a certain level of passion about it. I find it really difficult. That's probably for me the hardest part of business, because I'm so passionate about what I do and about the dog's welfare and about the human side of things, that sometimes can make us not very good business people. Because like one of the things that struck me is when I've had a number of business coaches over the years, and it's like anything. I went and learned a lot of I couldn't find the business coach that resonated with me, because they were saying things to do things that were out of my comfort zone and I didn't really want to do. Like one of them was going, you need to get into people's DMs on Instagram and message them. And I'm like, oh God, it makes me feel sick. I'm not doing that. I'd hate that for myself. And they'd like, that's the side of it that I struggle with. And I think it's the way I've kind of turned it around is kind of being really values driven and being really, these are my values. This is kind of the service I provide and that kind of thing. So how do you cope with that kind of side of it? Because I think when we're so passionate about things, it can be difficult to kind of switch on that businessy side as well. And because we do have to make money because it is our, it's our living, but also we don't want to mix it. We don't want to blur the lines too much, but on the same kind of respect, we do need to earn money, don't we? So how do you cope with that in your business?
I think it's really hard as an artist, because I don't really feel like art is as valued as other things.
Yeah.
I think people tend to think of art as a luxury.
Mm.
I did a reel actually on it not so long ago, whereas, art brings you peace, it brings you emotion. And I think, is that really a luxury or is it a necessity? And I think
Yeah.
we need to go back to, what are our essentials in life?
Yeah.
And I think we need to place more value on things that decorate our home, and art is one of them. It can be
Yeah.
such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
But going back to the business thing, I think it's not charging enough money for what you're doing. So I started off
Yeah.
not charging enough. I'd
Yeah.
spend maybe 40 plus hours on a portrait for somebody, and they'd want it for something like £50. And you're thinking, well,
Yeah.
would you say the same thing to a plumber or
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
mechanic? No, you wouldn't. So,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
people wanting something for nothing. Oh, you're good at drawing. Can you just do me a poster for this, that, and the other? And well,
Yeah.
actually, that's my business now. I have to, and
Yeah.
yeah, so you have to have boundaries, don't you? And you have
Yeah.
to work out what you're willing to do
Yeah.
for a certain amount of money, and that's really hard, really,
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah, especially when it is a passion and you just want to help people or provide them with a service or share what you do with everybody else. It's super difficult, but I definitely get that about how people, I get it. I get it from family members, but I also get it when I'm competing at a show where people will be like, can I just ask you a question, even though you're at a show? And they put you on the spot and they don't really like, they know what they're doing, but I'm not rude enough to say, well, no, actually pay me for my knowledge. But you're like, then you go away feeling frustrated because that's really like, it's hard for me to say in that moment. Well, actually, no, because it happened to me the other day. I was sat watching, I didn't have any of my dogs with me, just having a minute just to wait, just to clear my mind, watching some of the agility. Then somebody come up to me and was like, oh, can I ask you a question, even though you're at a show? And I'm like, I'm sat with my husband, just literally chilling out, watching the agility. You can't really say no because there isn't a valid excuse. So you just go, yeah, okay. And then you end up giving them advice that you'd normally, charge for or whatever. And then it frustrates you. But then you're like, oh, it's so difficult, isn't it, dealing with the people side of things? And I think as neurodivergent people, I definitely struggled with that. And it's the face-to-face kind of conflict, the face-to-face confrontation that's not always the easiest. It's difficult, isn't it? And I suppose you do you have your products in shops, don't you? You do craft stores and things like that.
Yeah.
And then you obviously have to deal with people, don't you, in those circumstances. When I was doing craft, I was a rubbish salesperson. My husband's a lot better. I always used to take him because he'd chat to anybody and do all that kind of thing. How do you find that when you're doing your stores? And do you find it easy to chat to people? Do you ever have any negative conflict? How do you deal with those kind of like the general public, so to speak?
I love chatting with the general public. I really
Yeah.
do. I really
Yeah.
love it. It just makes me laugh, some of the comments that
Yeah.
people come out with.
Yeah.
But no, I like hearing what they like. What is it about my artwork that they resonate with? And I
Yeah.
think that's where it's good to meet face to face with people
Yeah.
and kind of get more from them in that respect. And they also love meeting artists. They think
Yeah.
it's the best thing. It's like you're a celebrity. It's brilliant.
Amazing. Oh, I love
So
that.
when I'm in my local artist cooperative and I say, "Oh, I'm the artist on today," and they're like, "Oh, where's your work?" And generally they will just buy a couple of coasters because they've met the artist.
Amazing.
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So I know one of the things that I've found, and probably when I was in the crafting world, it can be quite isolating, can't it? And quite because you do a lot of things on your own. So
Mm.
how have you dealt with that, that kind of side of it? And is the one of the things I've done, and one of the main reasons I built the community and the Facebook communities I've got is because I was feeling kind of isolated on my own. I'm like, well, if I'm feeling like this, then other people must be feeling like this. And so, I created my own community, and thankfully, people have got on board and we've joined it. And I've got this nice little couple of communities, an agility one and a neuro-inclusive one. How have you found that? Do you find that in the art world? Do you find that sometimes it can be quite isolating? Is there any kind of community stuff you can get involved with? How does that work?
Yeah, it can be, and I'm kind of in the early days of it really, so I'm still finding my feet.
Yeah.
Um, what I'm thinking about doing in the future is actually taking myself out and
Mhm.
going and sitting somewhere for the day
Oh
and
wow.
doing my work somewhere
Yeah.
else. And also there's a few local business people, not necessarily art people, but some are craft based, some are art people, some are completely different businesses. And
Yeah.
so I've started networking with them as well.
Yeah.
And even if it's just a conversation over a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
it just makes you feel like you're not on your own.
Yeah.
Um, um, you know, even online Zooms with somebody who I've
Yeah.
never met before. I've started,
Yeah.
sort of like doing that with other business people and
Yeah.
um helping them and they help me. And I
Yes.
think you just got to be willing, haven't you, to jump on a Zoom
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
go out of your comfort zone
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, it is difficult, isn't it? It's one of the biggest battles I used to have in putting ourselves out there as well. I don't know if you get this in the art world, where like this is who I am and this is what I do, and especially as a neurodivergent person, that was a massive, massive barrier because it's like, people do buy from people, and it's one of the things that, oh, as much as I hate it, and taking selfies or taking pictures and putting them all over the internet and stuff, it's that connection, isn't it? And I think as well, from the work you do, thinking about it, I think you've got that level of, in a way, you can get that level of connection, can't you, from the art that you create? I think that art can be quite a connecting thing. People
Mm.
can like see it and resonate with it. So I suppose in a way, you've kind of like got one up on us dog professionals because you can connect with people in that kind of way. It does connect people, doesn't it, art? But also, you know, how do you how do you feel about that? Do you feel that it's kind of daunting putting yourself out there and perceived criticism and all of that?
Absolutely. I really struggled with it to begin with. I was
Yeah.
teaching at the time, so I had the
Yeah.
added sort of, my students are going to see it, the
Yeah.
parents are going to see it, the teachers are going to see it. But
Mm.
you also have to think, well, this is my business, so
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything that I can possibly do to make this a success.
Yeah.
And yes, it may feel horrible.
Mm.
So I'm going to try and make it feel as good as it possibly can and be comfortable with what I put out,
Yeah.
excuse me, with what I put out there.
Yeah.
So I only do things that I'm really comfortable with. I've
Yeah.
just started doing voiceovers on Reels so people can hear my voice
Yeah.
and then maybe just do a photo of me and I'm
Yeah.
speaking over, rather than lives. I don't like doing lives at all, but I have done a few.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind the reels and the other things. I don't.
Yeah, and I think that's it, isn't it? It's finding stuff that we're comfortable with to start off with, and then kind of dipping our toes into the stuff that makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable. And then when our brains realize that it's not that scary and nothing bad really happened, we feel a little bit braver to do a little bit more, don't we? And a little bit
Yeah.
more. I think it's about do kind of. I think one of the biggest things I've had on my neurodivergent journey is number one, becoming aware of it, knowing that it was there in the first place, and then kind of accepting it, but not accepting it as a, I didn't see it as a negative thing. It was kind of just accepting, oh, this makes sense and this is why it is, and giving myself a bit more grace than anything else. And then the
Yeah.
next level is kind of that putting ourselves out there. So, we're aware of it, then we've accepted it, and this is who I am, we'll take it or leave it kind of thing. And that's one of the hardest things to do, isn't it? Whatever profession you're in, to go, this is what I am, this is what I offer, because we are going to, attract some people, and then we are going to repel some people. And I used to see that repelling of some people as such a negative thing, whereas now it's not, it's actually a positive thing, because those people, from the work that you do, they wouldn't appreciate, the amount of time that goes into it or whatever. They're not kind of our people, or from my perspective, they're not the people that are going to go home and do the homework and train the dog outside of the lessons and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that it doesn't matter what kind of industry you're in, all of these other elements are still as important. So if anybody is listening that wants to get involved in more pet work, more dog world, in the dog world, from whatever kind of angle, whether that's photography, whether that's artwork, whether that's pet portraits, whatever it might be, what kind of advice would you give them, knowing what you know now, having some experience in that? Is there anything in particular, any advice that you could offer them, or places to start, that kind of thing?
I mean, I think we live in a world that is, information rich, don't we? You can go onto YouTube, you can go onto Google, and you can find whatever you want. I think just go for it. Immerse yourself in whatever it is that really
Yeah.
lights you up, and
Yeah.
see where you can tap into that area. I mean, I didn't think that I would be going into animals, I definitely didn't, but that's what lights me up.
Yeah.
I love the dog portraits, I love bees and all of that. So I think you just have to, yeah, like I say, you have to immerse yourself in something and
Yeah.
really go deep
Yeah.
and figure out what it is that
Yeah.
excites you, really. And
Yeah.
then, and speak to as many people as you possibly can. People
Yeah.
are amazingly helpful,
Yeah.
I mean, I've paid for an awful lot of things,
Yeah.
but actually people are very kind and friendly and more than happy to help, really.
Yeah, and I think that's it as well. Asking, as neurodivergent people, we're not very good at asking,
No.
because we're going to be a bother or whatever it is, or and I think it was something that actually that Danny said on one of her posts, that she said that she was scared of. I can't remember what the context was about, but it's something about that resonated with me, and that saying that was support always came at a price. And I was like, oh
Mm,
yeah, that's really interesting, because that's how I've definitely felt, that if you want help and you want support, you've got to pay for it, or you've got to, and
yeah.
that's not always the case. So changing that way of thinking, that especially in these communities where, where there is safe. So, for example, the community I've built and stuff, there's loads of people in there that'll just offer advice and help, and they don't want anything else from you apart from just just a community, just a friendly face, because you never know when you need to, when you might need to return the favor, or whatever it is. So
I think that's what's quite sad, really, isn't it? I mean, somebody offered to, have a chat with me over Zoom, and
yeah,
I instantly said, "Oh, I'm really sorry, but I can't afford to pay you right now." And she was,
yeah,
this is going back a while, and she said,
yeah,
"I don't want any. I just wanted to chat with you." But I
yeah,
think we've been conditioned to
yeah,
think that we have to pay for anything, and
yeah,
actually, I think people are more than willing to help.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And it's one of those, isn't it? I think it's, you can see it from two different perspectives. So definitely ask for help and ask for guidance from a, from a business perspective. But when it comes to, for clients and stuff, you do have to put boundaries in place, because there is the other side of it where we can give away too much for free.
Yeah.
So definitely, from a business, a professional perspective, there's definitely people out there in communities that you can ask, and people are willing to help and stuff. But from a business perspective, can't get my words out, in terms of money, you have to definitely be careful, because there is the other side of it where people give us, try and get as much as they can get without paying, isn't they? So
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, people ask me now, where do you get this done? Where do you get that done? And I'm like, I've spent a lot of
yeah,
time trying to
yeah,
find these people. So yeah, I'm not just going to give it away.
yeah.
Um, but but I will help anyone who needs sort of help to
Yeah.
start off with. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's a really important thing, is knowing who you're speaking to and who it is, in terms of, you can get a feel for people, can't you? Get a feel for people of, oh, they're just out for something they can get, or
Mm,
they genuinely want help. And I think that's the importance of it, is, creating these safe communities, and having places where people can just feel okay to ask questions, and know that they're not, that they're not just giving stuff away. I spent a lot of my years, like one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my career is, for the past, I'd say 4 or so years, I've helped a hell of a lot of dog businesses set up, in terms of, it's clients that have come to me for training of one kind or another, usually with their dog. And I've helped them set up dog businesses, because it was, I was something I'm passionate about, something I've helped people with for years. I've set up many businesses, both in the dog world and other businesses. And I was just giving them advice, giving them, tips for free. And many of them have gone and spent, for one, I set up a whole secure dog field for somebody, give her the idea, built the website for them, told them exactly what they wanted to do, helped them with loads of different things for free, because, like I say, it was a friend.
yeah.
And, yeah. But then, like, it's kind of like, oh, I've got what I need now, see you later, kind of thing. And then I was like, hold on a minute. I built all of these people successful businesses. And that's when I actually turned around and got, actually, I need to add business coaching to my business, because I was doing it all for free, but getting nothing out of it financially. And then,
Yeah.
not everybody's like that, but there was a couple of occasions where they just went, all right, thanks for that, I'll see you later, and never spoke to me again. And I'm like, so you do have to be careful, don't you?
Yes, you do. And I think that's probably where we are very alike, that you do, I've
Yeah.
got a little it's only £15 course that I
Yeah.
have to draw a hair, and it breaks it all down and shows you
Yeah.
everything. And the amount of times that I've given that away for free,
Yeah.
and you just
Yeah.
think, well, yeah, but really, that's not a lot to pay, is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. It is.
So
It's,
yeah, we're too giving and too trusting sometimes.
yeah, and it is, and it's hard to find that balance, isn't it, sometimes? And I think as well, sometimes we can give ourselves a hard time. Like for me, I've just had to go, do you know what, leave it, is what it is. I know that I've built that business for them, and if they wouldn't have that business if it weren't for me, I know that, other people know that, and that's all that kind of matters. You have to kind of shelve things and think, well, I'll learn for that, and I just won't do it again, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's all a learning curve.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing. So
Good.
what we're going to do is I'm going to finish off with some quick fire round questions, so we can get to know you a little bit more. So
Oh,
are you ready? Everybody's really
okay.
scared about these, and they're not that scary. So the first one is really difficult. Tea or coffee?
Old tea.
Tea, definitely. We're winning. I said this on the last podcast I recorded. Like normally everybody was coffee, 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 and I'm in the tea camp. So every time someone says tea, I'm like, whoa. So I get a little bit too excited about that, but there we go. So what's one tool or app you can't live without in your business?
I use CapCut a lot,
Yeah,
but I've just discovered edits, so I'm going to
yeah,
be using that a lot, I think.
amazing. Is that new Instagram one?
It is, yeah.
I've not dabbled with that yet, so I'll have to go and have a look.
Yeah, no, I haven't done a lot with it either, but yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing this afternoon.
Amazing. So, what's one hobby or interest you have outside of your work or your art that people might not expect?
Oh, that's a hard one.
I know. Our work always tends to revolve around our businesses, doesn't it?
It
Our
does.
yeah.
I don't think I've got anything other than that, which is really sad, isn't it?
I know one.
I live on
a holiday let though, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I live on top of a mountain. That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
And we do let our house out in the summer months. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
There you go. That can kind of count. So, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning.
Morning, me too, me too.
Yeah.
And the last one, what is your favorite way to recharge after a busy day?
Um, going out, I think, going out into nature,
Yeah,
stroking my sheep and feeding her little
amazing.
sheep pellets. And she
Oh,
loves a rub under her chin.
oh, what's she
So
called?
yeah, she's called Blue.
Oh, love it. Amazing. I love it. I love quirky animals and stuff. I love that you've got a pet sheep. It's amazing.
Yeah, she comes running when I call her. She's hilarious.
Oh, so the last one, which is the most important one, if people want to get in touch with you, and particularly get any information about the portage you do, the subscription boxes, or anything like that, where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram, Jane
Mhm.
Lloyd Fine Artist,
Mhm.
and also Jane Lloyd's Arty Parties,
Amazing.
and also on Facebook and TikTok as well.
Amazing. So what we'll do is we'll put all of the links underneath the podcast so people can easily find you and have a look at what you're doing and give you a follow. So that's amazing. Thank you very much for talking to me on today's podcast. I found it fascinating, and it's a subject that like I say, I'm very biased because I love crafts and stuff, and I know how much it helps when it comes to like mindfulness and switching off and those kind of things. So thank you very much for coming on the podcast. And if you are watching the podcast for the first time, make sure you hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss a future episode. And if you're interested in anything that Jane does, make sure you click the links below to get in touch with her and find out more. So it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Jane.
Thank you.